I'm a bad motherfucker.
The phrase "from the river to the sea," which we've been told is genocidal.
Yeah.
Even though I believe it was James Zogby who tweeted out that he had polled both Israelis and Palestinians about what their ideal future would be for the region. And they both said a one-state solution. Both of them said that. For Palestinians, that meant Jews and Arabs living together under democracy. And for Israelis, it meant you get all of the Palestinians and Arabs out of the region, and it becomes only a Jewish state. So, but according to a lot of Zionists, "from the river to the sea" is a genocidal phrase when used by pro-Palestinians, but apparently not when used by Benjamin Netanyahu, as you'll see. So Netanyahu tells the U.S. to go get its fucking shine box. He tells them he opposes the creation of Palestinian state after the Gaza war. He doesn't even say it privately. He doesn't even say it in those quiet conversations that Blinken assures us they're having. He just said that shit right out in the open. Rebuts White House by saying all territory west of Jordan River would be under Israeli security control. Sounds suspiciously like he wants all the territory from the river to the sea. In fact, he literally said that.
For 30 years, I am very consistent, and I'm saying something very simple. This conflict is not on the lack of a state of Palestinian, but the existence of a state, the Jewish state. Every area that we evacuate, we receive terrible terror against that. It happened in South Lebanon, in Gaza, and also Judea and Samaria, which we did it. And therefore, I clarify that in other arrangement, any other arrangement, in the future, the state of Israel have to control on the entire area from the river to the sea. This is what happens when you have sovereignty. This truth I say to our American friends. And I also stopped the attempt to impose on us a reality that will jeopardize us. A prime minister in Israel has to be able to say no, even to the best of friends. To say no when you need to, and to say yes when you can.
Okay, so the American people should understand. Israel would fold tomorrow if we were not funding them and giving them weapons. They would be overwhelmed tomorrow. No, the Arab world does not hate us for our 7-Elevens. They hate us because of that. They do not hate us because of our freedom. They hate us because of that. And he is so confident in his position, rightly so, I would say, with the American government, that he is willing, at a moment when he knows that Joe Biden is getting killed in the polls by his position on this, still tells him, go fuck yourself. No Palestinian state. No, he literally uses the phrase "from the river to the sea," which we have been told is genocidal.
He didn't tweet
just amazing. He didn't tweet it. We'll get to that. Keaton, anything?
No, yeah, I mean, it makes total sense. I mean, it's not in his interest to do what's best for Joe Biden. You know, if Trump wins, he'll have just as easy a time with him. It doesn't matter.
If not easier.
Yeah.
So Israel's prime minister has told the Biden White House that he rejects any moves to establish a Palestinian state when Israel ends its offensive against Gaza, and that all territory west of the Jordan River would be under Israeli security control. Netanyahu has sought to obstruct the establishment of a Palestinian state throughout his political career, despite occasional lukewarm endorsements of the idea. His public statement on Thursday, however, represented his sharpest rebuttal of U.S. foreign policy at a time when the Biden administration has expended huge domestic political capital to support Israel militarily and in international forums. The White House responded by saying the U.S. would continue working towards a two-state solution and that there could be no Israeli reoccupation of Gaza when the war concluded. Now, we'll get into it, but how? What are they going to do about it? What are they going to do about it? In a further development shortly after Netanyahu's address, Mexico and Chile announced they had referred Israeli actions in the occupied Palestinian territories to the prosecutor of the International Criminal Court for the investigation of possible war crimes. The Mexican Foreign Ministry said it had taken the step over growing concern about the latest escalation of violence and civilian casualties. The U.S. had been urging Israel to scale back its offensive in Gaza and had been pushing for an end to the phase of major fighting. It said the establishment of a Palestinian state should be part of the day after. There has been increasingly visible frustration among senior Biden officials with the Israeli prime minister. Netanyahu's explicit rejection of a Palestinian state is also likely to complicate support for Israel among other countries, not least in Europe, who have long backed the two-state solution envisioned in the Oslo agreements. It will also undermine Israel's attempts to normalize relations with countries in the Middle East that have long backed Palestinian statehood. See, this is what I'm saying. It surprises me, the ineptitude of it, because all he has to do is pay lip service to it to give these countries and their leaders cover. No, he's for a two-state solution. And then when you get there, you just don't do it. That's pretty much been Israel's whole history regarding this.
Well, not if you have a lot of blackmail on people. You don't have to do shit.
Yep. Bibi has made his aims clear. This is from Censored Men. Will Western governments continue to support this genocidal maniac?
Yes.
Yeah.
1,000 times. Yeah. We told you, yes.
Yes, they will. Remy Kanazi. Palestinians, from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. The U.S., that's anti-Semitic. Netanyahu, from the river to the sea, it will all be Israel and there will never be a Palestinian state. The U.S., here's $14 billion and some more bombs for genocide. And this is good from Ali. Is Bill Ackman going to write a 35,000-word tweet on how this is anti-Palestinian? I wouldn't hold my breath for that, Ali. And Elon here, let's remember Lord Musk. So, as I said earlier this week, decolonization from the river to the sea and similar euphemisms necessarily imply genocide. Clear calls for extreme violence are against our terms of service and will result in suspension. So
he got
Truth in Gaza asked him, hey, Elon Musk, you once said whoever says from the river to the sea gets their account suspended. Here's your friend Netanyahu. So is your policy still effective or has it expired? Come on, Elon, tell us. This is why I tell all the Elon Musk knob gobblers, you're like a peasant in medieval Europe kissing up to your lord. This guy is not what he pretends to be.
Which is what?
I mean, hey, if he pulls off Netanyahu, I'll eat my words. But
that's Bill Ackman.
I'll be very
all that
surprised.
Shit was Bill Ackman. Bill Ackman made a call to every major organization.
Yep.
The other thing, what was the thing we just did about this? We're with Elon and somebody else. And it was clearly Bill Ackman. I think Elon.
That's Dean Phillips. Dean Phillips, where he changed the word. He slightly changed the wording of the site.
Bill Ackman has a huge influence on everything. It turns out it's really something.
I mean, you know, he's not the only Zionist running around and laying pressure. Also, remember, Elon makes a lot of money off government contracts. This is why I don't understand people who think they're anti-establishment or claim to be anti-establishment or populist.
They just could talk on
I don't
Twitter.
Understand the thing about Musk. We just did a piece about Malay. Come on, man. I mean, these people, like, what are you talking about?
He let people.
None of these people would piss on you if they were on fire. You ever hear about a union at Tesla? No. He resists that very strongly.
Most people do. You know, a union happens because it's got to happen. It doesn't happen like I remember.
They've tried to unionize. They've tried to unionize at Tesla.
Writers Guild right now.
Mm-hmm.
I would say is like worthless. I didn't know this. My buddy who we had on the show, who was a steward there, and I think he left because of this. They have a checklist where you put in your race and disability.
I saw
all
that.
kinds of crazy shit.
It's like okay, but that's like that. For one thing, that's a union in a very different field. When the UAW makes you check 6 boxes on what your sexuality is, get back to me. But I wouldn't anticipate that happening anytime soon.
It just means management. It's how SAG has been worthless for a long time. I've considered SAG worthless.
Yeah, sure.
The WGA was not as worthless as SAG. No, it was not. Now it is. And that's management got through, infiltrates it with bullshit, and then the union's done, and that's how they keep them down.
I mean, you're talking about there was somebody. Maybe we'll do a segment on this.
Christian Smalls, I bet they got him.
Maybe we'll do a segment on this when I get back. There's a letter from a writer who wrote it anonymously.
That's
I think they printed it in Film Threat. So
wait.
I think it was printed in Film Threat.
If it was in Film Threat,
where he talked about how basically during streaming, as kind of a side topic, but during streaming they were desperate for content, so they hired a lot of these, very
that's not my friend. No.
critical, justice-oriented people, and then kind of the lunatics took over the asylum. But another subject. Keaton, you have anything on Netanyahu? Now that we've made a lot of work
the day
for the editor.
after. Look, the day after is just that. It's the day after. Once it's done, it's done. And yes, Israel needs us, but they know that we need them. That's what makes this back and forth work so well, is they know that we need them. And for us to turn on them would be to squander this decades-long investment that we've made, and they know that we're not going to do that. And in terms of Netanyahu's rhetoric, he feels much more accountable to his people than to Joe Biden, who he knows is going to back him no matter what. Don't forget, Netanyahu's poll numbers are not good. And so if he has to choose between placating the sensibilities of a Democratic White House who wants to maintain some level of credibility with their liberal base and keeping his numbers up in his own country and maintaining his own grip on power, which one do you think he's going to choose? It's a no-brainer. And so that's why he chooses to talk the way he talks, because he knows he has us in his pocket no matter what. He has to get his poll numbers up in his country.
Well, that's it. I mean, and it's such a not that I'm crying tears for the senile old bastard, but it's such a slap in the face to Joe Biden. Like, he's got to know that he's getting killed on this issue, and to not even. What does it take for him to say, "Oh yeah, sure, 2-state solution, yeah, sure"? He could just say, but that is an enormous. Fuck you.
That could cost him support in Israel. That's my opinion.
Yeah, he can't lose.
You know what I mean?
But then we're told by Zionists who realize that you can't justify Netanyahu with the liberal class that he doesn't represent Israelis, but he does. He's elected. He's elected. Yeah, it's a parliamentary system.
He's serving his third
that
stint.
party
The guy
was
keeps
elected.
coming back and back and back.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So how does he not represent Israel if he's had a political career as the highest elected official in that country spanning decades? Clearly, he represents a majority.
Back in the 80s. He's been a very prominent figure there for 40 years now. Yeah.
All right, Misha, to you.
All right. We're going to go to a break and bring on our very special guest.
Hey, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down there for more AM Joy and the rest of MSNBC. And click on any of the videos right here to watch the latest interviews and highlights. And you can get more videos from MSNBC for free every day with our newsletters. Just visit